Okay. Good evening to all. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Page is visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good evening to all. Um, this is the problem. Once starting sharing and presentation starts, joining is difficult. Okay. So you see, policy, educational management at national level. Educational management at national level, it covers block 1. This paper, the name of the paper is Dimensions of Educational Management. In this paper, this is known as MES-42. In this dimension of educational management, 3 blocks are there. Block 1, block 2, block 3. You have 6 classes. Of every block, 2 classes. Every block has 4 units. One class covers 2 units. So today we will discuss about block 1, that is educational management at national level, under unit 1, policy formulation and policy planning, as well as unit 2. So let us start our discussion with unit 1, policy formulation and policy planning. Here, when we think about educational management, what do you understand? Please share your views and opinions. If we think about educational management, what do you mean or understand the meaning of educational management? Yes, anybody?
Sir, it has a proper structure, function, dimension, and framework,
Good.
and procedure
Anybody?
also.
Yes, yes. Anybody? Nobody is there. Yes, we all are from the common platform. What experience you have, you please share your views, opinions. What is the meaning of educational management? Yes. By call, can I ask? By name, can I ask to share your views?
Krishna Kumar Pradhan.
Yes, yes. Krishna Kumar, you tell.
Educational management is the process of planning, organization, and directing activity in school.
Okay, good. So, dear learners, always try your best to share your opinions, views as you think and understand in your own language. Okay, when there is a classroom, inside the classroom, the facilitator means who? Who is the facilitator? The teacher is the facilitator. When the teacher facilitates the learners about the topic, about the concept, then the sharing of students' opinion must be required. And during that time, the students should participate in their own views, ideas, knowledge, but don't go through the bookish language or the statements of any educationist or psychologist. So that is not necessary. What I understand, that should be expressed in my own language. So, dear students, dear learners, educational management relates to the managerial structure in our educational system. In formal educational system, our structure leads from primary school to higher education institutions, that is college and universities. as per NEP 2020. Do you know what is NEP 2020? National Education Policy 2020 विषय के जानिच कि? Yes. Nobody has no idea about NEP 2020. Okay. NEP 2020 divided the entire school system structure of the school into foundational stage, preparatory stage, middle stage, and secondary stage. Foundational stage what? Now it starts from preschool 1, preschool 2, preschool 3, class 1, class 2. How many years?
5 years.
5 years. That means the Balbatika, Anganwadi, 3 years to 6 years the students spent during that period. That now included as the school education and foundational stage. Okay, so foundational stage covers preschool 3 classes, 1, 2, and 3, and standard 1 by class 1, class 2, 5 years. Age 3 to 8 years. The child spends or educates during the age of 3 to 8 years, 5 years in foundational stage. Second is preparatory. Now, preparatory stage is 3 years. One is class 3, class 4, and class 5. Class 3, class 4, class 5, 3 years means 8 to 11 years. The child spends in the preparatory stage. Then class 6, class 7, class 8, that is middle stage, 11 to 14 years. Then secondary stage, class 9, class 10, class 11, and class 12, that is secondary stage. Who can say what was the structure before NEP 2020? In the school system, what was the structure before NEP 2020? Anybody?
Ten plus 2 plus 3.
10.
10 plus 2 plus 3 is higher education. School education is up to 12th class. Previously, it was known as plus 2, means 10 plus 2. So, what one information is to all, everybody, your attendance is recording. And our discussion with your attendance already recorded. Okay. So, try to continue your attendance from beginning of the last. The student friends who do not know about this class, you may share in between your friends to join at right time and continue till 7 p.m. So it is the government program, university program. So the resource persons are taking classes and they are devoting time for 2 hours. This is the general information to you all to join sincerely and attend the classes. Okay. So now I am to say that 10 plus 2 was known as primary, upper primary, secondary, higher secondary. Previously, preschool 1, 2, 3 was not included in school education. It was separated. Now it is included in NEP 2020. Primary was considered from class 1 to 5. Upper primary was 6 to 8. Secondary was 9, 10. Higher secondary was 11th and 12th. But here in NEP 2020, structure has been changed. as foundational, preparatory, middle, and secondary. Okay. So in this context, when a teacher or an educational administrator wants to work regularly in his or her working field, he or she must understood what is the basic concept of educational management. Under this, we must have to lead our discussion what is the concept of a policy. So unity 1 is about policy formulation and policy planning. Policy is a plan of course of action, plan or course of action to influence and determine decisions, actions, and other matters. What is policy? Policy is nothing, it is a document. In that document, certain plan or course of action is written. According to that plan and course of action, every work is carried out. Okay, it can be understood as political activities and decisions, management of the organization. It may be financial and it may be administrative mechanisms arranged to reach at the goals. Policy differs from rules or laws. Rules and laws are different. Policy is different. As rules and laws can prohibit behaviors where policy guides actions. Policy is specifically, now I told about NP 1986 and NEP 2020. Two documents, two policies. In the year 1986, throughout the country, an educational policy was implemented that was known as National Policy on Education 1986 and Program of Action 1992. But now, after years, in the year 2020, a new policy was came into existence and it functioned throughout our country, throughout India. That is known as National Education Policy 2020. And the policy before and after there was different views, opinions. As per new policy, all the activities will be worked out. All the activities will be carried out. So all the stakeholders from school level to government level, all the stakeholders will give focus on the activities of or written in this document, that is NEP 2020. So policy making whether the page is moving, whether the page is moving.
Yes, sir.
Have you visible educational policy, political context? Do you visible it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So, educational policy. Now I told about educational policy in NP 1986 and NEP 2020. While formulating the educational policy, the differential educational development across the states has been taken into consideration. So as per the need of the state, union territories, rural area, hill stations, remote areas, and urban areas, what the citizens, what the recent people wants, and what is their demand. Accordingly, educational policy has been decided, taking all the stakeholders and other public's views and remarks, ideas, the policy have been formulated. Emphasis has given on the reduction of regional, social, and gender disparities. If we think about the political context, in our country, various political parties have been coming to power and have been defining educational goals. So now BJP government is ruling over the state, over our country. Before Congress government was ruling over our country. Different political parties are ruling over the country. So when they are formulating policy, the political parties must give stress on the interest of their party. They have to implement various programs to achieve target in their educational policies. In their own educational policy, number of targets are there. Always they are trying to best to achieve their goals as there is the political temperament of the political parties. Similarly, when we think about economic context, before formulating the educational policy, an assessment of financial and human resource is essential because financial burden is very major issue in the country or for the country. How and what type of human resources are available in the country, that is also another issue. So both issues, financial and human resource, should be taken into consideration while think about economic context. Variables like demographic shifts, urbanization, migration of coupled with likely growth in various sectors of the country. It is very general tendency of the people that when urbanization is there, the rural people easily travel to the urban areas and settle there, searching of different type of jobs or works. As a result, the demand in rural area for education and in urban area is differs. Migration due to different regions. Then demographic shifts is also another factor. Education policy of 1968 proposed that 6% of GDP should be spent on education. Until date, we have not been able to spend more than 3.80% GDP in education. It is very joking fact. But now the first education policy in our country made in the year 1968 based on Kothari Commission's report or Indian Education Commission 1964 to 66. Basing on the report of Indian Education Commission, National Education Policy formed in the year 1968. But it was not fully functional. States could not give stress on the policy of a central government. So due to different reasons, it was not functioned. It was non-functional. Hence, therefore, in the year 1986, the National Policy on Education came into existence in our country, and after reviewing the policy, the program of action gave its recommendation, suggestion to modify the policy in the year 1992. From that year, full-fledged National Policy on Education 1986 was functioned. After 2020 came into existence of NEP 2020, the old policy was defunct and the new policy is now under functional condition. So all the educational strategies, decisions are taken as per NEP 2020. Okay. So in 68, it was the decision to make expenditure of 6% of gross GDP. Who can say the full form of GDP? GDP. Anybody?
Gross domestic product.
Very good, very good. Thank you. So from that, 6% should be made expenditure for education, but till now, 3.80% GDP is made for expenditure on education. Then educational scenario, available access to educational opportunities and how to improve it, equality in educational service, structure of the education system, internal efficiency like dropout rates, repetition rate, transition rate, promotion rate, etc., external efficiency, institutional management for smooth management. So, who are the stakeholders of educational policy? Who has involved while making educational policy? Basically, the politicians and elected representatives, MLAs and MPs. They are the main stakeholders in educational policy makers. Civil servants, bureaucrats, and administrators, IS, OS, IFS, all other allied service holders, civil servants, professors, the doctors, engineers, all the civil servants are scientists, they are involved in as a stakeholder while making educational policy. Similarly, professional bodies like a CAP, Central Advisory Board of Education, NCRT, National Council of Educational Research and Training, NUPA, then NUPA means what? National University of Educational Planning and Administration, University Grant Commission, National Council of Teacher Education, AICT, and Ministry of Education. All the organizations are under the administrative control of Ministry of Education, Government of India. Then pressure groups are also other stakeholders, political parties, voluntary organization means NGOs, then media, the people in general. So all are the different stakeholders who are actively taking part while formulating the educational policy. Now, National Policy on Education 1986. Just I told about, we should not, just I am telling one thing. As per the recommendation of Indian Education Commission 1964, that is Kothari Commission, Dr. D.S. Kothari, who was the chairman of UGC, 16 members 16 members out of 11 Indian and 5 foreign experts were the members of the Indian education policy, and they were studied for 2 years and recommended for different development and changes in the system of education in our country. The commission had the benefit of discussion with a number of internationally known consultants in the educational as well as scientific fields. The commission set up 12 task force and 7 working groups. They interviewed about 9,000 men and women distinguished in public life. Okay. Similarly, educators, scientists, industrialists, and scholars in different fields and other interested in education were given their views and ideas on the future of education policy 1968 as well as 86. It is received and scrutinized over 24,000 memorandum and notes. The report of the commission was received in June 1966, and the report was discussed in both the houses of parliament, and the final resolution was issued in 1968. So, I told you what about National Policy on Education 1968 as well as Indian Education Commission or Kothari Commission 1964 to 66. When it was not functioned properly, National Policy on Education 1986 and POA 1992 was came into force, and as per that, the total educational system in our country has been carried out. Okay, then the Union Minister of Education generally undertook an intensive exercise to prepare the program of action. 23 task forces were also constituted, and each was assigned a specific subject covered by a National Policy on Education. eminent educationists, experts, and senior representatives of central and state governments were associated with these task force. So, continuous effort, continuous work, continuous study helped the committee, that is the experts of our state, of our country, to form National Policy on Education 1986 and POA 1990. Now, we can cast a glance overview of educational policies in India. Now, tell me, what is the year from which education was continued in our territory, in our country formally? What is the year? Who can say? Yes? What is the year from which formally education was continued in our country? ये कह परिवा? Yes. Alisa को Alisa. Yes, Alisa.
Again, sir?
Which is the year? In which year the
Yes, sir.
education was started in our country formally with the rules and regulations, with the guideline of the state or government. What is the year?
Sir, Education Commission start ହେଇଥିଲା 1964 ରେ ଆଉ policy start ହେଇଥିଲା 1968 ରେ.
No, you are telling about after independence, but before independence it was started formally.
Before independence, sir, 1813 ରେ Charter Act
Very good.
जो ହେଇଥିଲା.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Yes, thank you. Thank you. So, in the year 1913, okay, East India Company during that time ruled over our country. East India Company included education as the fundamental duty of the government in his Charter Act. After that, in the year 1835, orders of Lord William Bentinck was passed.
Sir, in the year. Hello?
Yes, yes.
Sir, in the year 1882, sir, it's Third Commission.
I am within 1835, but you are in 1882. What about 35, 1854?
Sir, 35 Macaulay minutes, sir.
You listen first. You mute
Okay, sir.
yourself, listen.
Okay, sir.
So after 1813, you mute yourself. Okay. Now 1813, then 1835, Macaulay Minute. As per Macaulay Minute, Lord William Bentinck passed an order, and there was a controversy between Anglist and Orientalist. That means the Sanskrit and Persian education with English education. Then after, Wood's Dispatch came into existence in the year 1854, and with this, after the recommendation of Wood's Dispatch, a drastic change in the education system, administration was shifted from East India Company to the government of Great Britain. Am I clear? Who can say in which year the power, the administration shifted from East India Company to next government of Great Britain or England, government of England? Who can say? Anybody? Who can say? Anybody? Now all are present here. Anybody is non-Odia? If anybody is there who cannot understand Odia, okay, all are Odia. Okay, मते कुह केउ मसियारे समस्त क्षमता पावर ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी हाथरू शिफ्ट हैला इंग्लैंड सरकार का हाथ को कुह
1858 sir.
Okay. After the outbreak of Sipahi Vidroha, so when all the administrative power shifted to government of England, after British government, the first education commission was appointed under the chairmanship of Sir William Hunter in the year 1982, and this was first Indian Education Commission, but it was before independence. Then 1904 government resolution on education policy by Lord Curzon. 1911 Gokhal's resolution in the Imperial Legislative Council. 1913 resolution of the Government of India on education. In the year 1919 Government of India Act. 1928 Hatto Committee resolution. 1935 Government of India Act. 1937 Wardha scheme of education. 1943 Sir John Sargent report on education. Then period of independence started. After independence, the first education commission was known as, anybody who can say after independence what is the first education commission? Yes. Okay. Note it. University Education Commission under the chairmanship of Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. Who? Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. And it was known as Radhakrishnan's Commission or University Education Commission. It was appointed in the year 1948 and the committee submitted its report in the year 1949. Then in the year 1952, Secondary Education Commission was appointed under the chairmanship of Lakshmana Swami Mudaliar, and it is submitted its report in the year 1953. In the year 1964, Kothari Commission was appointed, Dr. D.S. Kothari, and it was known as Indian Education Commission after independence. And it submitted its report in the year 1966. Basing on NP 1968 came into existence. Then after National Policy on Education 1986, then NEP 2020. So this is all about different types of commissions and committees from pre-independence period to post-independence period. Okay. So here, before British rule, during ancient time, the education system was run by the kings and rulers with the help of gurus and gurukulashrams. During Buddhist period, monks and the Buddhist institutions were the educational institutions. Similarly, during the rule of Muslims in our country, Mughal emperor, the education system was different. During Brahminic period, the system of education was different, and the primitive period during uh, uh, Vedic period, the system of education was also different. Gradually, the system of education came into focused on professionalism, occupation, vocation, and now where we are, we understood what is the system of education today, and this is known as formal system of education. Clear? Then, educational policy during ancient time. During ancient time, education was restricted to the higher caste, and the common people and women were denied for education. But today, advocacy is there, equity must be maintained. Not only equality, but also equity. Equity must be maintained. Educational policy was determined by the kings and rulers with the help of their advisors. Education was given importance according to the value attached to it by different rulers in different provinces. And if we think about educational policy during the Mughal period, we may say grants and donations were given for the promotion of education, especially by Mughal emperors. Babur was a knowledgeable man with knowledge of Arabic, Persian, and Turkey, and has a taste of poetry. Akbar took various steps to spread education among the masses. He also encouraged the education of not only Muslims but also of the Hindus, and had a large number of Sanskrit books translated into Persian. He provided a systemic and organized structure for a quality education. Then, educational policy during the East India Company. During East India Company, the East India Company till 1765 was not intensely involved in the education of the people, but the company after 1765 took interest for making expenditure of some amount of money for education of the common people. So the company adopted a policy of strict religious neutrality and stopped supporting the mission schools. Before 1813, only missionaries were running different educational institutions. So first of all, Charter of 1813 came into force. The charter of the company was revived in 1813, which forced the company to accept the responsibility of education of the Indians. Charter did not specify the mode of implementation, so the controversial issues emerged between the Orientalists and the Anglist. Orientalist means who favor the indigenous education, means our language, that is Sanskrit, Persian, Arabic. But Anglist means favor the English education, English language. Then, minutes of Lord Macaulay came into force in 1835. Lord Macaulay, the first law minister of the Governor General's Executive Council, advocated for the education of the selected few who would in turn educate the mass in 1835. ମାକ୍ଲେଙ୍କ ମିନିଟ୍ଟା କିଏ କ'ଣ ବୁଝିଛ ଟିକେ ଯଦି ଇଂରାଜୀରେ ନ କହିପାରୁଛ ଓଡ଼ିଆରେ ମୋତେ କହିଦେଲ. Who can clearly explain what was Macaulay's minute? Yes. What is Macaulay's minute? Monisha Mahanti, you please respond. What is Macaulay's minute? Do you audible? Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
What is Macaul's minute? What do you understand Macaul's minute? Anybody? Yes,
Sir,
Ipsita.
sir, sir, main aim thila ji sir that English is the medium of instruction, sir.
How?
Sir, to create a
Yes.
class societies ମାନେ class basis ରେ ସେ ଚାହୁଁଥିଲା ସେଟା ମାନେ education ଟା ଥିଲା sir form ଟା ଥିଲା.
Okay. Anybody? Anybody? Listen. Mindfully listen. What was Macaul's minute? It is very important. Lord Macaulay, he was very cunning and intelligent. Who was very cunning and intelligent? Who was very cunning and intelligent?
Lord Macaulay.
Very good. Lord Macaulay. When Lord Bentinck given the charge to Lord Macaulay to study the educational system in India and recommend what should we do for making an amount of expenditure for the education of the public. Lord Macaulay wonderfully thought, inquired, and studied the situation, and he given a policy or brought a policy that was known as downward filtration theory. It is very important. Downward filtration theory. Under this theory, he thought we should take education of only the few people of the society. That few society who can handle the mass people of the community. So with this, two benefits are there. One is huge amount of money is required for mass education of the mass total community, total people. If we select some people, influential people, and make them education, give them education, and this is very less amount of money will be required. One benefit the government will enjoy. The second is, if the few people will be educated by us, they will be obliged to us. When they work in the field or society and educate the whole mass, automatically whole mass will be controlled by that limited people, limited mass, so that it will be helpful for us to control the whole community easily. This was his objective. Okay. Another objective was to spread English education, gives focus and importance on the English language. So he thought that will be only medium of instruction is English. Only medium was English. No other medium of educational institutions will be get funding or any benefit, any support from the government or the company. Sir, government means company, East India Company. So the controversy raised in between the Orientalist and Anglist. Then Wood's dispatch came into force. Sir William Wood very cunningly, tactfully, he recommended and give support of all types of schools. Grantine system was also started during his from his recommendation, and this was all about Lord Macaulay minute and how he propounded downward filtration theory. एबे मते को डाउनवर्ड फिल्ट्रेशन थ्योरी के जानी पारलो ना जानी पारलोनी ना ओडिया रे कहि डाउनवर्ड फिल्ट्रेशन थ्योरी यस जे बुझिला टे बुझेई दियो नहले मु जानिबे के जानि पाइलोनी हैं
सर आउथरे ऑडियो रे
लॉर्ड मैकले advocated for the education of the selected few people. That means ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी किछि पैसा खर्च करिवो जो लोक मानक शिक्षा पाई से सब लोकंक शिक्षा पाई नुहे किछि बछा बछा लोकंक पाई जो बछा बछा लोक शिक्षित हेबे से माने टोटल मास को शिक्षित कराइबे एथिरे प्रथम लाभ कम पैसा खर्च हबो द्वितीय लाभ सेई छोट ग्रुप को निज पॉकेट रखी टोटल ग्रुप को शासन करिया पई सहज होई जिवो This theory was known as downward filtration theory. एबे बुझियला ना बुझियला
आज्ञा सर
वो
आज्ञा सर
okay okay then Raja Ramon Rai also supported spread of English education. I told you Woods Dispatch 1854, then Hunter Education Commission 1982, then education in India was revived critically by Lord Curzon. So University Education Commission was appointed in the year 1904. Gokhal's resolution in the Imperial Legislative Council in the year 1911. National Movement and Education 1905 to 1921 was running. Under this, Government of India Act 1919, Hatto Committee Report 1928, and Education under Provincial Autonomy and Congress Ministry Government of India Act 1935 was also came into force. Under this, I told before just University Education Commission or Radhakrishnan Commission 1948, Secondary Education Commission or Mudaliar Commission, Indian Education Commission, NP 1968, 86, POA 1992, as well as now we are at NEP 2020. So these are all about different commissions and committees which were came into existence before independence to till today. Now we discuss about, it is very important for you, educational policy making bodies. Who are the educational policy making bodies or who are involved in this body? Who can say? किछि आइडिया अछि कारा कहि परिबो शेयर करि परिबो कि? Yes, anybody? कार किछि आइडिया नहीं?
सटी क्वेश्चन ता
क्वेश्चन होउची, what are the different educational policy making bodies?
सर
सी
सर के यूजीसी
UGC, very good. Yes, UGC is also a policy format. Then
के
okay. Okay, okay, you are right. In your study material, page 23. I am with your study material, page 23. तुम्हारा page 23 study material रे देइची 25 regulatory bodies. How many regulatory bodies? 25 regulatory bodies established by the act of parliament to formulate policies on the subjects allocated to them. Different bodies are there. Power of different bodies is separate and different. The University Grant Commission Act 1956 means UGC formulate the policy in which area may not be equal with NCT, National Council of Education for Teachers, or NCRT, or any other bodies. So what are those bodies? The University Grant Commission Act 1956, the All India Council for Technical Education Act 1987 means AICT, the National Council of Minority Educational Institution Act 2004, the Copyright Act 1957, the Apprentice Act 1961, Bar Council of India Act 1961, Central Council of Homeopathy 1973, Central Council of Indian Medicine 1970, Council of Architecture 1972, Dental Council of India 1948, Distance Education Council 1985, Indian Nursing Council 1947, Medical Council of India 1956, National Council for Teacher Education 1993, Pharmacy Council of India 1948, Rehabilitation Council of India 1992, Indian Council for Agricultural Research, State Councils for Higher Education, Veterinary Council of India 1984, Directorate General of Shipping 1958, the Institute of Chartered Accounts of India 1949, the Institute of Company Secretaries of India 1980, the Institute of Cost and Work Accounts of India 1959, Department of Electronics, Government of India, National Council for Rural Institute 1995. These are the 25 regulatory bodies established by the Act of Parliament to formulate policies on the subjects allocated to them. So on which subject they will form policies, make plans and programs, how that will be worked out. So everything is depend upon as the subject assigned to the different committees or commissions. Okay. Then Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India. Who can say now what is the name of Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India? Anybody? MHRD ର ନାମ ସେ MHRD ଅଛି ନା କିଛି ପରିବର୍ତ୍ତନ ହେଇଛି? You all are master degree students. अध्यापक हब, अध्यापिका हब. Postgraduate students, being the postgraduate student in the subject education, whether we should know the question or without knowing the question, answer of the question, we are leaving. We are continuing our study.
Sir,
Yes, yes.
educational Department of Education, Central Education Department.
No.
Ministry
Anybody?
of
Yes. Nivedita,
Ministry
continue.
of Education.
Ministry of Education, Government of India. Note it and remember it. राति पाइले अध्यापक अध्यापिका हब, योग्यता हासिल करियो मास्टर डिग्री, पुणी एजुकेशन सब्जेक्ट अन्य सब्जेक्ट आम डिपार्टमेंट ना जानी बानी भारत सरकार कर मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एजुकेशन MOE, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया. So it was previously known as Ministry of Human Resource Development. Now it is known as Ministry of Education, Government of India. Under this, Central Advisory Board of Education was there. Central Advisory Board of Education, CABE, giving different suggestions and advice to different organizations at central level, how to formulate policies, how to run different programs in different institutions, colleges and universities. Similarly, planning commission is there. This commission's duty is to make the plans and programs, chalk out the expenditure and take all sorts of steps to continue all the program smoothly and effectively and meaningfully. Then another is advisory institutions involved in the policy formulation and implementation. Different advisory institutions like NUPA, NCRT, UGC, NIOS. Who can say what is the full form of NIOS? NIOS.
National Institute of Open Schooling.
Very good. Thank you. So under this, different schemes were also functioning, and today also number of schemes are functioning for improvement or for developing the scenario of education in our country. In the past, non-formal education system was continuing. Today, it is also continuing. Now we are taking the classes. What type of education now? We are under which type of education? आमे जो डिस्कशन करचे पढुचे को प्रकार एजुकेशन एटा फॉर्मल ना नॉन फॉर्मल
Non-formal.
Non-formal.
वेरी गुड व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन फॉर्मल एंड नॉन फॉर्मल
Sir, formal education is organized and structured, sir. But non-formal is, sir, that which takes place out of the classroom also. Sir, in distance
Anybody?
mode, like online mode.
Both also
yes
organized and structured, but in formal education there is just time period, specific time period or age limit is there. But in non-formal education there is no age limit or no specific time period for that education.
ओके ओके आउ एनीबॉडी आउ के मत शेयर कर टिके यस nobody so Nivedita you are right both are structured but formal system rigid principle is maintaining and non-formal somehow flexibility principle is maintaining. Suppose
Yes,
you
sir.
are the master degree student of a regular mode or formal mode, 80% attendance must be ensured to appear in the examination. But in non-formal mode, that type of flexibility is there. In formal mode, 2 years is enough to complete the course for master degree course or another 1 year for supplementary examination. But in non-formal system, once you admitted means 5 years relaxation time period is there, you may continue your course and complete it. So, regular timetable, specific rules and regulations and the attendance, laboratory work is not mandatory. It is optional in non-formal system. But in formal system, it is compulsory. Face-to-face mode classroom is required. But in non-formal mode, face-to-face mode, either online mode is available and acceptable. So number of flexibility is there. And that is also happening in different like IGNO, Odisha Open University, and also distance centers or DDC or DEC of different universities. They are offering non-formal mode of education to the citizens of India for getting better education and enhancing their career. There is no difference between the certificate, value of a certificate of regular mode of a master degree and a distance mode of a master degree. Equal value, certificate has equal value. So, a service holder, a government servant, a private sector and a housewife, maker, any other professionals, they can not attend the school and college regularly and they can have education and certificate non-formally and they can use it for getting employment in different field and sector. Okay. So another project was operational blackboard scheme. Who can say what is operational blackboard scheme? those who completed B.Ed, तमे जो अच्छो ना 16 जन खंडे अच्छो B.Ed के जन करछो B.Ed पास करछो के ठीक है ना कहबटी share your opinions.
Nivedita Priyadarshini.
अच्छा, you have completed B.Ed, good. How anybody?
Alisa Patnaik sir.
Yes, Alisa Patnaik.